Welcome to A Doctor's Journey, Navigating Life in Medicine with Healthcare Innovation and Coaching. And I'm your host, Miguel Villagra. And today we have an amazing guest who is going to share her journey. I'm very impressed about what she's doing, to tell you up front. Her name is Dr. Chinyelu Oraedu. She go by Dr. Yel'Ora, and she is a board certified internal medicine and the founder and CEO of Dr. Yel'Ora Lifestyle and Obesity Coaching Program, which is a transformative initiative tailored to help night shift workers regain their health, shed weight, and reclaim their confidence. I'm gonna let her introduce herself, but I appreciate the opportunity to have the internet podcast. Welcome to the podcast, Dr. Yel'Ora.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Miguel. Thank you for having me. I am so excited that I reached out to you and you said, sure, just come on. I want to have you on the show. For those who don't know me, my name is Chinyelu Oraedu. I'm a physician, Dr. Chinyelu Oraedu. But Dr. Yel'Ora is my coaching business. It's the name that I created from my everyday night shift work. It's an adaptation of my name. It's the later part of Chinyelu. If you split Chinyelu into two, the YEL, and then the first three words of my last name, ORA. So I blended them together and I created Dr. Yel'Ora because I also go by the dusk to dawn MD. And that is just what I do. That is the shift work that I cover in the hospital. I am a board certified physician in internal medicine, and I am a hospitalist nocturnist. And my journey towards being a nocturnist, it's not, oh, I'm going to sign up and work nights now. It's just a lady who finished residency, and I started residency with twins. I had twin boys, and they were 4 months when I started my program in Brooklyn. So it was rough, even with my husband and all the help I could get. But I finished my training and started to I spent time away from my kids during training, and that was why night shift was a little bit attractive to me, because I felt that I could spend time with my kids during the day, because my mother was very involved. My parents actually were very involved in my life and in raising me, because I'm originally Nigerian, although I was born in England because my father was a student at that time. I have lived in different parts of the world, but my upbringing channeled and shaped the kind of mother I really wanted to be. And so I started doing the night shift then. And as I was working nights, I just let myself go and I gained a lot of weight. My diabetes, I had gestational diabetes. And then I transitioned into full-blown diabetes. And then I couldn't control my weight. I couldn't sleep because I wasn't consciously being in charge of my health. It's just a problem with when you do the night shift work. So I just started to dial back just before the pandemic, and I discovered the transformative power of coaching. I'm just gonna put it out there. I found a remote coach, health coach, and she set me on the right track with nutrition, with exercise, with sleep, and to add that too, I began to pay attention to my routines. As somebody who works night, it's like clockwork, right? You get off your shift, you have to sleep, you have to eat healthy. So when you pay attention to your routines, it shapes your life because it gives you some level of discipline. And then you find out that you can transfer the discipline from that you get from the kind of work you do into other aspects of your life. And that is how you actually experience long lasting change. So, as somebody who works nights, I stopped making excuses. My vitamin D level it was almost undetectable for years. It was oh my God, my doctor had gee, you have to do something about it. But the moment I became intentional about not just sunlight, but taking my supplements, because now I have my supplements in my lunch bag, it's in my purse, it's in my car. I have vitamin D everywhere. So I really don't have any excuse not to take my supplements because I work night shift, I may not really have enough exposure to the sun. So it's about intentionality and being very purposeful. And besides the night shift thing, I like to write. I like to get involved in other projects. I have a couple of books with other people, and I live in Connecticut, so I've also done a radio. I was the host of the Night Shift Lifestyle show on the radio for some months. And we're trying to revamping the show so that we can have more outreach. But as a person, I'm married, I have 3 kids, and I just created Dr. Yel'Ora lifestyle and obesity coaching program because I just see how people who work nights suffer. I see how people who work nights scramble to fit into a 9 to 5 society. I just see how their family lives are impacted and they don't see it coming. There's studies that show that night shift people have higher rate of divorce. And it makes sense because when you work night and you have a significant other, maybe you guys overlapping shifts. You don't spend time together. So I try to unearth problems, bring it to the surface and create solutions and work with the people who are affected so that they can find a better way to work at night. So they can reimagine a different night shift experience because that is how people will find happiness. Most jobs cannot recruit night shift workers. You cannot. You can't recruit people who work nights. And part of the reason is not just that it's hard. Part of the reason is just that some people just don't feel appreciated. That is just the truth around it. And people do nights for a reason. A lot of people who do nights, as a matter of fact, up to 44, 45, maybe 50% of people who work at night do that while going to school. That is one of the primary reasons people work at night. And honestly, Dr. Miguel, education is one of the most empowering. Anything I can do to support somebody, being Nigerian, I support a lot of people overseas so that they can go to school. But any contribution that I can give to somebody else to empower them to get an education, it's what my time is. It's what the airtime, the all the effort I put into it. I think it's the work I do is transformational in that aspect. In addition to other reasons that people may choose to work at night, but the one that resonates with me is the people who suffer while getting an education and working night shift and they're gaining weight. The research is there. We see that all the time. Some of them are inconclusive and some of them are very high level of evidence. But what is the solution? How can we help people? How can we just in some way start shifting? That's what we want to do. We want people to every single day, step by step, move and slide towards a better health, to regain a better health. That is what I do. I don't eliminate. I say that all the time. And I don't promote night shift work because we all know that the negative effect of night shift work. I don't promote it, but I support people who do it. I support people who have voluntarily signed up to work at night for whatever reason. But I just don't eliminate risk. And that's why as a healthcare provider, as a physician, as a health coach, I work with people one-on-one. I work with people in groups to really find out how are you coping? How are you surviving? How is your family? Because sometimes you can't do things without the support of people that love you and people that are around you. And what are you eating when you work at night? We talk about circadian health, metabolic health. People that work night shift, we know about circadian rhythm misalignment. We know about that. I don't think anybody can change it, but there are ways you can tweak it. There are ways you can minimize it. And there are ways you can know when you're not thriving so that you can stop. And that's what I tell people. Yes, you have to stop if it's not working for you. And you just don't want to get sick. So that's a nutshell of a very lengthy introduction.
Yeah, that's a beautiful mission, but at the same time, there's a lot to unpack, right? And here, the first question I have is like when you reflect back, when you were having this issue with your weight and you were already a diabetic, what was what sparked the change? Was an event or it was a reflection that you reached at some point that something needed to change with your life, with your weight, with your metabolism, or there was an event that actually led you to decide I need to do something about it?
Oh, I love that question. I have played and rehearsed that question over again because you always have to ask yourself, what is your why? Why do you have to do this? Why does it have to be you, Chinyelu, Dr. Yel'Ora? Why isn't it somebody else talking about this? When I finished my residency, I finished in 2009. That was when I graduated, completed my training. And I took my board exams and I practiced. And in 2019, I had to recertify. I just told myself, when I recertify in 2019, something has to change. Something really needs to change in the way I live my life. Because I just was winging it as a night person. You crawl out of bed, you go to work, you go to the vending machine, you eat whatever you find, you order food from fast food. It was just a very chaotic experience. I can tell you. And I saw the effect of it. I just couldn't control my weight. But in 2019, when I recertified, I said, God, something needs to change. I just can do better. I have done this for 10 years now as an internist. And I'm going to segue because my kids are getting older and my husband is working in Connecticut. It's time to like segue into something else. But what will be my mission? I'm like, because I'm a very spiritual person too. So I was just asking that question. And then the pandemic happened. The pandemic happened March 20th. It was declared a pandemic. And that was when I saw mayhem. Because we that work night shift historically has limited resources compared to day shift. When you work nights, you assume a lot of roles when you come in at night as a physician. Sometimes you're the only doctor in the hospital, you're in the service, you're a cardiologist, you're anesthesia, intubate, you do all kinds of roles. So when the pandemic happened in Connecticut, in the city where I work, we had a lot of people get sick at the same time so quickly because of the proximity to JFK. So we got a lot of people, and I told myself, I see you. That was when I coined this kind of string of words that I like to say all the time. I see you, but not in the ICU. So it was like, I see myself. I was talking to myself. I'm like, I see you, but I don't want to see you in the intensive care unit, the ICU, because most people who came in at the beginning of COVID, they went to the ICU. It was like a rapid deterioration. ICU, intubation, 24 hours, the person is gone. So it was a wake up call that obesity is a problem because that was the commonality. You could see that the people that struggled the most were people that had health challenges, diabetes, obesity, poorly controlled hypertension. So that was my wake up call. I just saw it for the first time that, oh my God, people can really get very sick because they have chronic medical problems that are poorly controlled. So I just started to, from March, I was extremely very intentional. My life has not been the same since then. The whole coaching thing, the way I steadfastly, painstakingly lost weight while working nights, the way I paid attention to my schedule, the way I followed the science behind night shift, that some foods are actually better than others, that we have superfoods, that we have foods that have more antioxidant properties, we have foods that have more anti-inflammatory properties, that you have to be intentional about how you eat, when you eat, what you eat, and all that. And for me, being African, because African food is carbohydrate based for the most part. So I had to shift the whole family. I had to, and my husband is very healthy. He has always been very healthy. But we just had to, as a family, take this journey. We had to embark on this journey, a healthy lifestyle journey together. And that is why I've had so much success with maintaining my weight, being able to help the people that work with me, and just helping them to change their mindset around work. And sleep is very important. Sleep is very important. And the studies show that people who work night shift actually get 4 hours less sleep compared to people that work day shift hours. So the job already puts you at risk for so many deficiencies, for lack of a better word. So you just have to create that schedule. And that's why when I talk to employers, when I have a session, I talk to employers, I just tell them this is a two-way street. The employer and the employee, there has to be some flexibility, some interconnectedness, some conversation that needs to happen. Because you can't find night shift workers. You can't find them. And if you can't find them, you got to negotiate with them. You have to meet them somewhere in the middle. You have to meet people at their point of need. It's extremely very important in medicine, in you even for innovation. You're not gonna be thinking about creating, whether it's an app or whether it's some technology that nobody wants. You have to give people what they need. That is how become pretty much relevant. You have to see that there's pain in what people do, and then you have to find a better way that you can help them. And I keep finding ways to help people that work at night because I work nights. So it's relatable. It's easier for me to relate and connect where when people tell me the challenges they face. And that was the most exciting part of when I did the radio, when I was doing the radio show and talking to people, real people calling into the show and parents calling into the show about the struggles their children face and the health, wellness, and marriage, mental health, especially around this time with shift work and seasonal affective disorder because of the darkness and absence of shorter period of sun of daylight. So you just see that we have this subset of people, and so many people work at night. When you think about worldwide, not just here in the United States, where we have about maybe 16% of people or a little bit less working night shift. So it's really a group of people that I am very passionate about helping.
Yeah, fantastic. And one of the things that resonated with me is about what you said on your journey. When you make the decision to make a change, and change is hard. It's not easy, right? It's very hard in the beginning, messy in the middle, but it's beautiful at the end. But one of the things that I see when you change behavior is the fact that the more support you can get, it's going to increase dramatically your chances of have a successful change. And the first change, you have it at home. You were able to reimagine even the way you guys eat. And that is not hard, by the way. As a Latino physician, my Latina wife, we cook a lot of carbohydrate-based food, right? And it's hard. It requires a lot of reimagination, right? But on the flip side, if you take it from a perspective of a beginner's mind and curiosity, you can even sometimes shuffle a little bit the ingredients and create versions that are healthier if you can just put a little bit of imagination into it. And that is something that really helps. Now, you change, you get your family support, and that was, I'm sure, part of your success story about the massive weight loss. When did you decide to help others, though? Why you said, okay, you know what? I want to help the rest of the folks of the night shift. Tell me about that.
Like I said, during the pandemic, that was when because I have a cohort, a group of people that I work with at night, very amazing females actually, and most of them are actually wives too. So we have a great relationship, and we kind of soldier through the pandemic and having to do multitask when we had very high census. And then I started to go through that transformation, and they were like, "Oh, Chi, what are you eating now? Chi, you're going to exercise because it's crazy." I'm just gonna give you a little background story. So the problem with people that work night shift sometimes is that you are working nights in a 9 to 5 world. It's so hard to fit into what everybody else is doing. And of course, my coach, most of her clients were 9 to 5. I was the only person that was a night shift worker. And she used to check in on me during the time I was at work. So she checks in on me for the weigh-in period. She said, "You got to give me a weight every couple of days." And I used to like bluff and I used to try to like waffle around the whole thing. My excuse was always like, "Oh, I always have to drink coffee at the end of my shift so I can drive home. I can't give you an accurate weight. It's going to be like 3 or 5 pounds above my real weight." So she kept telling me that you have to be serious about this. You have to weigh yourself. The first step in weight loss is self-awareness and accountability. You have to, first of all, agree that you need help, and then part of needing help with weight loss is that you have to know how much you weigh. So you have to get on a scale from time to time so you can monitor your progress. So we went through this a couple of times. So what I did was I bought a scale. So I bought a bathroom scale and I kept it in my locker at the hospital. So what I used to do then was just before she calls me, I just take my scale to the bathroom and I get an accurate weight. And once when I give her the weight, after I giving her the weight and tracking the progress, I go drink my coffee. So it wasn't like I didn't have to wait till I got home. I just started the process while I was still at the hospital. And that was an aha moment for me that, oh, wow, I have found a way to navigate a problem, a little hiccup, a little problem in my journey that would have messed up my relationship with my coach because I just couldn't weigh in at the right time. So by having the scale in my hospital, I mean, at the hospital, in my locker, and having that schedule of checking myself before I get the phone call, we were good. And it encouraged me to now move myself, shift to the highest limit, and maintain the momentum that I had acquired from having that accountability. So all my colleagues, they were watching me go through this because they know that they hear when I get the phone call, they're like, oh my God, your coach is calling you again. They're like, wow, you got to go weigh yourself. So they saw the journey with me. They saw how somebody else kept me accountable. So I think that was how they were able to everybody started to shift. I just saw it happen. Everybody had a lunch bag. Everybody got water bottles. So nobody was going to the vending machine anymore. People were now meal prepping, coming in at night with their healthy meals and tracking how they were going to eat it through their shift so that they didn't, because one thing you want to avoid when you work night is hunger. You just don't want to get too hungry that you're going to start grabbing and eating whatever is around you. So you plan your meals before you come in, and you try to focus on high protein because protein, they make you feel full, satiety. So you focus on a lot of protein, a lot of low calorie, a lot of fruits and veggies, and all the good stuff that are good for you because you work at night and you need more antioxidants because you know that the hormone melatonin is what kind of night shift workers don't secrete enough of that because it's suppressed. It's chronically suppressed because you work at night. You're trying to stay awake. So you're taking all the caffeine and everything so that you can stay awake and sleep. So melatonin is suppressed. And melatonin is an antioxidant. It has anti-inflammatory properties in addition to anti-cancer. So as a result of that, people that work at night could be at a higher risk of chronic medical problems, including cancer. So I think food is medicine. Food is the first medicine people should invest in. Good food and meal prep and being purposeful about working nights and knowing what you eat and anticipating hunger and making sure that you have the right meals that's going to carry you through your shift. So these are some of the things I talk about, but the whole premise of the coaching program is support. I like to call it set you up, SET. So it's a program that supports night shift workers. And by support, we meet you where you are. So we meet you if you're struggling. I will meet you where you are, and then we will help you to recreate a better experience, a better schedule, so that you can navigate the challenges that you face. And then the E of it is empowerment. I do have a very passion, like I said, when I talk about education, because I think education gives you so much opportunities. So within the coaching program, there's an empowerment platform that helps people to reimagine beyond the night shift. Because historically, some people who work night shift may stagnate. So you may start working nights and you just don't think about the next level, other things you're good at, whether you want to create a business. My plan and my hope is that you don't remain in night shift your whole life because I think it's a season and a reason. You do it for a reason and there's a seasonality to it. And after that, you need to move on because the studies show that you can get sick. And that's why I don't promote it, but I support people that do it. And then the T part of it is the transformation. The support, empowerment, and the transformation is the weight loss. Weight loss is something that more people need to talk about it because 5 to 10% weight loss, studies have shown the magic number, 5 to 10% has so much benefits, health benefits, your blood pressure, your blood sugar, including your cholesterol levels, your insulin secretion. So there's so many benefits from losing weight, even up to 5 to 10%, going from losing weight from 200 pounds to 190 pounds. So I feel like the transformative part of what I do is just as important as the support that I give, whether it's through webinars, whether it's through workshop, whether it's through, educative content, and the empowerment part of it when I now when I do social media or when I just talk about education as a whole. And of course, the transformation is the regaining of health, the obesity part of it. Because I think about lifestyle, the night shift lifestyle is it's different because in the hospital, you hear people talk about night shift problems and day shift problems. So night shift problem is a valid issue. It's a real problem. And then we have the obesity in night shift working, which is 3 times higher than people that work day shift. So it's a real problem too. So take care of both of them because I can speak to it because it's something that I have struggled with. It's something that I have been able to like get to around it and above it. And I thrive. I have I'm still married. I have 3 children. My twin boys, they went to college. They are freshmen in college this year. And then my daughter and I have a better health, thank God. I have a wonderful health. When it comes to night shift, it like I said, the empowerment part of it. I don't want people to do it forever. I have interest in so many other things that give me joy outside of night shift, writing, speaking, creating things, I'm writing a book, about this because I do talk about it. And I just want people to reimagine a better night shift experience. That is just it. And of course, the technology that is going to come out of helping people, because I think the technology will make our lives better. I have ideas for that too, but
Yeah,
yeah.
I totally agree that there's a lot of change coming that will reshaping the way we practice medicine, and that's going to be a fascinating journey. Now, let me ask you that give me the perfect segue for the following question because do you still see yourself working nights? Where do you see your future as far as the night shift? And also, how do you plan on continue doing this work if you ever change to the schedule, to the daytime, and things like that?
Like I said, your question is great. It's amazing. It's a great question because all these things people ask me, and I keep thinking about it. I have the thoughts and the answers, and I sometimes I address them on my social media. Night shift is not permanent. I don't support people. I don't support people who want to do it for the rest of their life. I have met people that have worked nights for 40 years, 40. They don't have any medical problems. So that tells you that, and that's one of the reasons I find it very exciting that there's a lot of inconclusive evidence when it comes to night shift. Because remember that we have chronotypes. Everybody has chronotypes, which is genetic. It's what you get from your parents and is influenced by the environment. And those chronotypes, some people's chronotype is daytime. That is when they work better. They are very much awake in the morning time. Some people's chronotype is later in the evening. That's when they function best. Because I've been reading around this, and there was an argument that really made so much sense. And somebody proposed that if you align your work, whatever shift you do, day shift, night shift, if you align it with your chronotype, with your natural chronotype, if the work you do is aligned with your chronotype, maybe you will never even get sick. So maybe some people who work nights, their chronotype is night. That is when they're most awake and they're most functional at their highest level. So they will never get sick. And we're looking at those chronotypes also when it comes to metabolism, exercise. People that exercise in the morning, people that exercise in the evening. When do they lose the most weight? Studies have shown that exercise, the best time to lose weight when you exercise is actually sometime in the afternoon, somewhere between 2 p.m., 1 p.m., and maybe 3 p.m. at thereabout. So there's so much unknown when it comes to chronotype, circadian health, and metabolism. And that's why I find it fascinating, and I'm very enthusiastic about the future of what I do. The coaching part of it is because I went through it. I see people struggling, and I just want to help them. But as a physician, I can help them in so many ways, at so many ways that I can help them. And besides coaching, besides clinical, the technology part of it that will help people to work nights better. So this is just the beginning. This is like a scratch. I'm gonna a little scratch on the surface of deeper on trying to unearth the bigger problems that people that work nights face. It's so I will not work nights forever. I know, like I said, my kids are older. It's a reason and a season. I do it. I will always be able to talk about it because I work nights from 2009 till now. It's what is that? Do the math of it. It's going to, this is almost 2015, like 15 years, 16 years
Mm-hmm.
almost. You know?
Mm-hmm.
So I can perfectly talk about it and help people who struggle with it. You know, even after I move on to other things. But the way this program is gonna work is that there's so many facets to it. There is something in it for everybody. When I talk about prioritizing health, minimizing risk, and optimizing your health, there are just so many angles that I can take this to from a creativity standpoint and also science. You want to create things that are backed by science too. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, the coaching is the beginning part of a night shift lifestyle revolution. The legislature around it. You know, when
Mm-hmm.
you read about all the laws in different countries, international laws, how people should work nights, and maybe we don't even observe them, but people need to know. And there's something like a night shift differential. When you work at night, your employer should pay you a little bit more than
Mm-hmm.
that works during the day. But it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen all the time. But so there's so many layers, and we
Mm-hmm.
need to unpeel so many. I don't want to call them injustice or whatever, but it's a different angle to it. But people just want to be seen. People want to be heard. People want to be supported and appreciated. And then you will have retention. You
Mm-hmm.
will have because most people cannot retain night shift work. They can't even hire them. I was at the hospital the other day. They're like paying like premium hourly rate to get nurses to work at night. Premium hourly rate. But you just have to tweak things. Sometimes you just have to know that people face different challenges at different times. And then you just have to sit with them and know how you can help them to thrive. People want to thrive. People want to thrive. People want to live long. We're living longer now. Most people desire longevity, but I'm not going to say this because I don't want to scare people. Working nights could shorten your lifespan.
Yeah.
So I don't come from a place of fear mongering or just trying to discourage people because somebody said, "Oh, okay, Laura, you're trying to discourage people from working nights." And I said, "No, I don't discourage people. People that have work nights have a reason why they work at night. Is that they need the money, they're going to school, they're raising their kids, they just like the autonomy of working at night without leadership or having so many people. Because some people have a problem, they focus better when they work by themselves. So they like to work at night. And there's less traffic when you work at night. So there are benefits to night shift work. So people will always work at night, but you want to retain them. And the best way you can retain them is to meet them where they are. It's just to meet them to tweak the schedule, some flexibility in the scheduling. I go to a lot of chat groups with night shift workers, and I just see the pain that people feel. And I'll give you just one example. It's the holiday season, right? It's the holiday season, and for the most part, adults socialize at night. You know, at nighttime, adults dress up and they socialize. Sometimes when you work at night around this season, it may be hard for you to even attend holiday parties at your job because you have to go to work. And maybe every single year that party comes up, you're working. Every single year you're working. Every single year you're on the schedule. So some flexibility helps, tweaking things so that everybody gets a chance, or just trying to invest in the well-being of your employees around this time of the year. And planning meetings, or these are like the things people talk about. They're planning meetings in such a way that you don't have to jeopardize their sleep time and commute time, and some kind of sensitivity to everybody who is on your team. I think it's doable. It's really doable. And most importantly, I always refer back to the significant other or your support system or your
Mm-hmm.
family. It's really important that when people work at night, that you give them that, just make the conducive environment that they can rest. They really need to rest after they've been out at work the whole night. So that understanding, and if it's a problem that you guys can't find a middle ground, then the person should stop, and maybe
Mm-hmm.
you should give it up and find something else that that works for your family. So these are some of the simple measures that people don't really think about, but in the bigger scheme of things, it impacts your well-being. And I hear people now, even in chat groups, even some men and even women, well, my partner works at night, how can I support them?
Mm-hmm.
So conversation is always, open conversation is always the first and the best step, because people never really know. People don't ask for help. And I always tell people you have to learn to delegate things to other people. Sometimes you just
Mm-hmm.
can't do it, especially when you have to rest, and then you have to commute, and then you have children. And so I'm just, like somebody who has like a novel idea that can help people that work at night to, like I said, reimagine having a better experience, because they have more intentionality, and they have, they engage in coaching, and they find simple ways to lose weight. And I'll tell you one thing that I talk about too. I talk about exercise. Exercise is extremely very important. It's gonna be hard for you to maintain and lose weight if you don't exercise. But because I know that people work nights, and people work nights sometimes because of children, you want to take care of their kids. The kids go to school, you get back from work, you're trying to like settle in before they get home, whether on the school bus or you have to go pick them up. So I try to curate exercise routines with simple things, whether it's a flex band, whether it's a jump rope, whether it's some dumbbells that you can do at home, that you can do in the comfort of a small space in your house, or whether you have a home gym. Because we know that a lot of people sign up for gym membership and they don't show up.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't show up. So it's the tweaking, it's the gentle shifts. Then you start to see results, 5 to 10% weight loss. And then you dial into it. Like, oh my God, I lost 10 pounds, or I lost 15 pounds. You like the way you look outside. Because I tell people that I help you regain a better weight, number one. I help you lose weight, number two, and keep it off. And when you do both of them, you're going to love the way you look on the outside, because the transformation starts from inside before it's outward. Because
Yeah.
now you lost weight and you like it, you love it.
Yeah, I agree on almost everything that you said. And oftentimes burnout is not about overworking, but on the recovery, not spending enough time on your recovery process. And also, I believe in the power of compounding, even small steps, right? It will be compounding over time, and you will see. You just need to be patient and trust the process, because oftentimes people give up too soon. And that is something that I see a lot. It was beautiful to have all this conversation, but I want to know how people can know or find you. Where exactly are the ways that we can communicate and find you?
I'm on social media. I found you on LinkedIn. So if you go to Dr. Yel'Ora, you will find me on LinkedIn. I'm fairly active. I show up, I talk about what I do. I am also active. I have a Facebook page, Dr. Yel'Ora. That is my official Facebook page, but I have a personal page too. And I'm doing a lot of Facebook Lives. And I'm working on a program. I have created the program, the blueprint that will help people that work night shift. Because when I think about Dr. Yel'Ora, the coaching program, the support is the S part of it, which is how I support night shift workers. It's a different algorithm and system that I have in place for that. And then the empowerment is also another, because I like to create things. I like to write. I'm very pragmatic and cerebral. I don't know, but I like to think things through. So I just want to meet people wherever they are, whether you need support. Weight loss is not something you need. You just want somebody that will guide you and through the journey while you work at night. You will get what you need from the support system in the program. And empowerment, if education, you're trying to go to your next level, you will find out within the empowerment aspect of what we're creating at Dr. Yel'Ora. And transformation has to do 100% with the obesity lifestyle, losing weight and gaining a better health. But to find me on Instagram, it's also Dr. Yel'Ora on Instagram. I'm fairly active on Instagram. And my website is dryel'Ora.com. I have my radio show. I uploaded a couple of episodes. And I like to write. Like I said, I've written a couple of books with female physicians, the Warrior Women Project. Writing is my way of decompressing. Because I tell people as internists, we are storytellers. That's what we do. I listen to your story. You tell me in your own words. I transcribe it into my medical language, and I try to figure out what's going on. I run tests. So we are natural born storytellers, and I think all of us should be authors and writing and talk and speaking and doing great things. So Yel'Ora.com is my website, and Dr. Yel'Ora is also my Instagram. Thank you. My son is calling me. Sorry about that, these kids. So that's how you find me. Dr. Yel'Ora is my signature identity, is my LLC, it's my business, and it's who I become when I work as a night shift doctor.
Fantastic. It was a pleasure to have you on the podcast, and we will meet again in the next episode. You guys take care. Bye
Thank
bye.
you.